Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to a Sunday Community Skirmish. This is the first time I've been doing one of these in quite a long time, but welcome everyone watching on Twitch or watching VODs later on. We're going to have a great set of matches here today. Of course, starting off with Centurions versus Ryders, and I mean, this is already going to be a crazy, crazy game. These are a couple of the really top teams going at it. In the first round of all rounds, you'd expect this to be a championship round, but they are going at it here in the first round. So let's get a quick rundown of chips before we get anything else. On the Centurion side, blue is captaining the RES Turin. It's got double Lumberjack on one side with a Hades assisting, a flare gun on the back, and a Hwacha and a heavy carronade on the other side. On the RES Prosciutto, we've got Assault Pig captaining a Mobula with, looks like, Artemis Flamer one wing, Hades up top, with a Banshee and a Light Flak on the other. On the Fancy, captained by Dementios, another Mobula with an Artemis Flamer on one side, a Merc up top, and a Artemis Carronade on the other. And lastly, we've got the Lib Attack, captained by Luosi, of course, who's got on the short side Hwacha Carronade as well, with double Lumberjack, Hades, and a flare gun on the back. So almost completely okay, and we have our first kill as the RAS Prosciutto goes down to the combined fire of the Fancy and Lib Attack. I was going to say these two teams are pretty much completely the same loadout, so really skill of firing those Lumberjacks will win out here, and Turin is slapping the Fancy right back. Wouldn't be too surprised if they get a kill here, as well as the Turin is just hammering the Fancy with just shots repeating. Fancy will get down below the little like ice shelf here though, and does escape temporary fire, but the Turin is just going to continue on slapping these Lumberjack shots over at the blue team. However, is getting a return fire now as well, taking out that drogue shoot, making sure that his descent from getting his balloon pops is going to be rather low. But I mean, there's a lot of firepower coming in from both the Fancy and the Lib Attack now, and I mean, this is a galleon. This is a ship that's not going to be very mobile, not going to be able to duck up and down quite that fast. Prosciutto has made it back here into the fold, though, so we'll see if they can help with anything, as now they are getting shot at by Fancy. Looks like the Mobula is just going to be the focus of attack anytime they can find him, and he is getting hit quite hard already. He is getting some shots off into the Fancy in the back over there, but not quite enough. And so far, the Ryders are definitely getting a better end of this deal, using basically, as I said, exact same ships. And when you use the exact same ships, you can't claim that you've been, out countered. You haven't been. It's exact same ships using exact same loadouts is what I should say. When that happens, there's a little variance here and there, of course, but you can't really say that it was just a build order win here. This is straight up who's going to be able to hit who faster, harder, who's going to be able to repair better. Should be a rather interesting game in that sense. So Lib Attack moving back around the gateway here, trying to feel out where red team is. I don't think either side knows where the other one is right now. Of course, unfortunately on the screen, all the ships look like they're marked, but as we can tell on our minimap, neither team has the other one marked currently. So we got a little break in the action here. The second set of fire here. Little bit of damage on the Turin, a little bit of damage on the Torino, but the Fancy and Lib Attack through all this have actually taken 0 permanent hull damage, and they've had a lot of shots go on them. And as I say that, of course, Lib Attack is just getting absolutely bombarded here by so much firepower between these two ships. They finally do take a little bit of damage. They are moonshining, but they're moonshining right into what is going to be a debris that they're going to bounce into. They might take a slight bump here. I think their balloon should come back up fairly quickly, though. They will still take a little bit of bump there, but nothing too major. The Prosciutto, in the meantime, had gotten hit quite a lot by the Fancy. Does take a fair amount of damage by himself. Turn, however, is of course there and returning fire, forces the Fancy back down. But any little poke here that the blue Ryder team can pull off is going to do quite well. Especially with Mobulus, you don't have quite a lot of health. A little chip shot there, a little chip shot there is going to turn you into a very dead Mobula very quickly. And once again, they got the focus going on him. Libitek has one snuck around behind the fallen battleship there. I don't quite know why the Prosciutto and the Turn haven't turned their focus to that Libitek in the least bit. They're finally getting it going now. But, I mean, the Libitek was just sitting there and has full view of Prosciutto, and the balloon goes down once again, and if these shots continue raining on here, there you go. There's another kill. Well, that was very strange. I would have been... I guess they may have not known that the Libitek was there. That's like the only thing I could think of, but you should have seen shots coming from over there. Maybe they figured that the two blue ships would not have split up as much as they did. It's very strange to me that the Prosciutto just basically paid no attention to Libitek back there. Now the Turn is getting blended, getting fired, getting lumberjacked all at the same time. That is a galleon still, however, so it's going to take a lot to get him down. We'll see where the other red ship shows up. He is going to spawn basically on the other side of the map, so I feel like they're almost just conceding the Turn right now. Either that or the Turn's going to play a little bit of ring around the rosy with the Fancy, but the Fancy going to be a faster ship using that flamethrower to nice effect. So many guns and components going down. Now the engines are going to die as well, and the Turn is just getting... is actually getting hammered here by the Fancy. Artemis shots coming out and as well. And we are going to see probably end of the Fancy here. Is a little bit of ram cam for you. There is a little bit of ram from a Mobula on a galleon, which is not something you see quite a lot. And there goes a Turn for kill number 3 for the Ryders, who are so far just absolutely dominating this match. Of course, if you have watched and seen and played as many Guns of Icarus matches as I have, 3 kills, that ain't no business. You got plenty of... well, you got 8 minutes. And then you go into overtime. So, you got plenty of time. You got plenty of time to come back. I've seen way too many comebacks from 3-0, from 4-0 to ever call a match until it's actually finished. But so far... definitely the Ryders have been getting the better of these engagements, and now the Turn had actually... did they have him spotted, or did they just see him? I guess they just saw him and had shot blindly. I mean, the Turn is already getting slapped around here. Balloon has gone down, and Libitek's just gonna continue wailing at those double lumberjacks, and man, those lumberjacks are so incredibly effective. You have to be able to hit with them, but if you can, lumberjack is probably one of the strongest guns in the game. Just very versatile, does a lot of good things for you. And very, very useful when you have to shoot from long ranges. Of course, it has extremely long range. All right, Prosciutto and Fancy actually going to collide here, with Prosciutto getting brawled by the Fancy of all things. And now with the Libitek and the Fancy up on the Prosciutto is going to be trying to backpedal over here. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get out of this area alive, with the Fancy still coming on in, unless the Turn, of course, can make something happen here. Can he put enough pressure on the Fancy? Oh, the Prosciutto is hurting so badly. Massive engineering repairs going on. There's no firing coming from this ship. It is all hands to repairs. Probably camp in the hall with a couple... and it's so hard to repair a Mobula that's under fire constant like this. You cannot help out each other that badly. You've really just got to be camping the 2 main components of the hull and the balloon. But, I mean, this is just not looking good. And the Turn is just kind of hanging out. Hasn't really been able to do much, and the prosciutto is just here under fire, just constantly. It's a minor miracle that they've been able to stay alive as long as they have, and now finally the turn's moving forward. But in the meantime, the prosciutto dies, and now the turn does go forth here. This is probably just going to end up being a meat grind. Yep, they are in fact rushing on forth, and I think they've just kind of thrown in the towel on this map. Looking forward to the next map instead. They will try to make something happen, maybe get a ram on the fancy with the mob, get a galleon ram on that fancy, but they're going to completely miss and fly right on by. Maybe if they had the short side on the fancy at the same time, that could have been worked out better, but really it's just, that was a desperate gamble. Libertad getting a little bit of watcha going on him, but the RAS turn is going to end up going down basically right now with the prosciutto respawning, but turn has died. And that will be first match going to the Ryders side with an absolute dominating performance. They do take the 5-0 victory, so we'll go into map number 1, and we'll see if the Centurions can pull back with match number 2. I don't actually know the, let's see, is this, oh, I do have the maps here. It will be on Parrot and Rumble, so you cannot get a completely different map as that. And we don't even need to reform the lobby, so good for us. Alright guys, while these guys get ready, I'm going to throw some music back on, and we'll get ready for match number 2. Do stay tuned as we get into match number 2 between the Centurions and the Ryders. We'll be back in just a moment.